Hi, Rex from RW Mods. I said when I did the review on this Protek Ls5 that I would do a follow-up review on it after I modified it. So this is a quick little video just kind of saying what I did to this engine. Like I said, the P5, this is basically, P5, and they do respond very well to modifying. Opens up kind of a whole new engine. One thing I did forget to mention on this review was it does come with the 17011 Novarossi bearing. It's a double sealed bearing that it has two seals on the outside, which is kind of unique. I think it's the only one like that. Novarossi patented bearing. It does a good job keeping dirt out. It's not perfect. I mean, I have, after maybe 4 gallons, rebuilt engines, and there's a little dirt behind them, but they're a good bearing. And I think some of the P5 versions don't come with that. They might come with like a black seal or just a standard bearing, which isn't a bad bearing. It's just this one's a little bit better. Normally, when guys rebuild an engine with this bearing, they'll choose just the Avid double sealed that I normally put in. Basically these are like $35, so guys just elect to the $6 Avid. So I started with modifying the sleeve. Just did a few cuts on it. Nothing too fancy. Just some basic things to help the power. These are just minor cuts. I don't like to cut up the sleeve a lot. I don't cut cranks or sleeves a lot. I just like to do keep it simple. The engine already had a nice bevel there, so just kind of enhancing the fuel flow away from the exhaust port. And then I do kind of subscribe to when you on the boost port side, going kind of taking some off there, so the air comes in and goes kind of high, because the cuts on those normally are more steep angle anyways. And then I did take a little bit of a cut on the piston here. Basically, at the bottom of the stroke, it gives a little more clearance for air to come through out towards the boost port side. Takes a little material off the piston to lighten it also. Sometimes I'll use a Dremel with that. Sometimes I'll cut it with the machine. So, as I said in my modifying video, that the heart of a good engine is the crank, and that does get the most work on this engine. I cut the crank window. The biggest thing, like I said, if I was to just do one thing to an engine, and this one in particular, I would cut the crank window. So that gets some cutting on both sides. Someone asked on one of my videos which side I cut, the opening or closing, and normally it's both. There are some engines that it is maybe just one side needs cutting. So it all depends on what the numbers come out stock. You might have two identical engines and they come out a couple degrees different also. So you measure, cut, and then I usually have to cut and measure a couple different times, even though I've done quite a few of these P5s. So that isn't something you really can do without having the proper equipment to check and know what you want to end up with your crank timing, opening, closing. The crank's filled. I did just fill the crank. The Novarossis come with drilled out, so just filling it's the only thing I do there. It's a nitro-safe silicone. It's a self-leveling silicone, so it comes out looking really nice smooth. It's nitro-safe. It is kind of expensive. It's $35-40 for a couple ounce tube. Just did some blending on this side. Like I said, I don't like to take a lot of material off anywhere, but a little bit of blending to help the airflow. A cut here, kind of help the airflow out, plus that takes a little weight off the crank pin side, which acts like adding more weight to the crank weight side. A little bit of blending on the leading edge here, get it to cut through the air a little bit better. Then a little more material off the back side here. And then this one had a backplate mod. He wanted the extra work on a backplate. I did. I normally will just modified the stock backplate, and I put a little silicone on the backside just to thicken things up in case I get close there, you know, even if it's not going through. And when I cut that, it's still nice to have a little extra insurance. So a nitro safe epoxy I put on the backside, and then make a cut with an end mill, and then drill some holes down to that. Like I said in my modifying video, the air comes through. Air comes through from the carb into the crank, and comes through, hits that, and kind of shoots towards the, you know, your cylinders up here. So, and it kind of shoots the air up towards the ports. So it does make a difference. I have, you know, my testing and stuff. It felt like a turbo spool up on the test engine I did. So I do like it. It does take a little bit of different tuning that you sometimes feel like it's a little bit lean on the top because it really pulls hard. So you have to kind of be ready for that and kind of adjust your tuning. It might, you know, your engine might be running cool but feel lean on the top, but you have to be, you know, just conscious of that. All I did to the head button was just polish the dome a little bit. On some engines I'll recut them, but this one has I like the nice blend and nice dome to it. It's got a little bit bigger dome than some, and I like the way these are stock, so I just polished it up a little bit. Carbon doesn't stick to it as much. It does reflect heat a little bit better, so I don't polish that just for looks. I do that for a performance edge. And as far as polishing anything else, I've seen some sleeves, you know, really cut all the heck and polished up, and there really is no benefit to polishing the sleeve. I think it's actually you know, it actually cuts the power. I don't know if it's something you're going to notice, but there's been, you know, dyno tests on 1-to-1 cars that, you know, with polished cylinders, or not cylinders, but polished heads and stuff, and they actually, ports in the heads, and they actually decrease power. They actually do on some dimples and different things to get turbulence and get the air to mix better and stuff. But this one I did touch it up a little bit. I didn't want it to look bad for the video, but I don't do a full out polish or anything. And same with the crank. It doesn't need to be, you know, to cut through the air. I do like a little bit, you know, of a nice finish there, but it doesn't have to be anything crazy polished or anything. So that's about it. Like I'll probably do a title on this, modifying a P5, but this, you know, just because more people know the P5 than the Protek. So thanks for watching, and look out for some new videos. Thanks.